Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Tuesday. We're here on Tuesday. Think I got the mic working again. Sorry about that yesterday, guys, with losing the audio. The one thing I forgot to do was to check to see how long these mics last, and I realized I hadn't charged it in like 2 weeks, so whoops. But yeah, so now I got myself covered. So, anyways, happy Tuesday. We're on day number 17 of self love, and today is follow your passion. Follow your passion. So, are you aware of the thing that both excites and terrifies you? Although you've convinced yourself it won't work, the thing you want to accomplish, get moving and do it. Oh, actually, that's not what it says. Get moving on that. But I like get moving and do it. Self love is a dynamic concept. It can take a lifetime to get it down, but it requires continuous practice. Be nice to yourself and persevere through the challenging moments, especially if you're on the road to finding your passion. Especially if you're on the road to finding your passion. Um, you know, I know this is a hard one for me because I am telling you. Sorry, I think my hair is blushing on that. Uh, it can be difficult because we may already be doing what we're passionate about and not realize that that's our passion. Because sometimes I think, and this is my own personal opinion because it's just flying out of my head right now. Sometimes I think we confuse passion with purpose, and they can be both. Your passion can be your purpose, but it may not always connect the way you think it's going to connect. You know, say your purpose is to touch people's lives, and maybe you're a artist of some sort, right? Like, or a musician. And the thing is, you may think, well, all I do is sing, write music. All I do is stand on stage and act. All I do is go on TV, or all I do is paint. All I do is write. Well, those things can be touching other people. Your purpose in life that puts the bread and butter on your table might be exactly what is helping somebody else. That could be your passion, right? Your passion might be what you're doing what you're doing in life. And you might think, but my purpose feels like it needs to be to help people. Well, you might be. You never know who you're going to touch with the performances and the art and the music and the writing. I mean, I relayed a story to you guys not that long ago about a specific book and how it was one really big way for a lot of people, but for me it was kind of like, oh my God, I feel seen. This does happen to other people. Bad things do happen to other people, and we know bad things happen to other people. But until we have it really kind of put into our face, we're not always going to see it. We're going to feel alone. So dive into your passion, because a lot of times when you dive into that passion, you will find your purpose if you haven't already. So, but you know, moving away from that, because I just wanted to put that out there, okay? But moving away from that, what are you passionate about? I'm passionate about writing. I admit I'm passionate about writing, and it scares the hell out of me because I've never been good with rejection, and I get it. That comes with life. I've never been good at constructive criticism, and I get it. That comes with life. But that was the old me. That was the me before I healed the trauma. That was me before the healing journey. And I don't know what it would be like now. I mean, I wasn't bad at taking constructive criticism. I was at the beginning, but it was kind of like, oh my God, they hate my stuff, and that's it. And I quit on myself. I quit on myself. And I quit on myself for a long time, but we have to decide, is our passion more important than our fears? Or is what we do more important than our fears? Of course. Fear is it's that little voice in your head that tries to keep you safe, even when you don't need to be kept safe. That little voice, you should listen to it when it says, don't go down that dark alley by yourself. That's when you should listen to that fear in your voice, in your head. But, or don't cross into, moving traffic. another good example of listening to that fear in your head. But when it comes to our passions, when it comes to the things we love to do, that we enjoy doing, that we want to pursue, don't let fear live rent free in your head. We talked about this the other day, right? Give it a little, basically entertain it for a moment and then let it go and do it anyway. Follow your passion, follow your own lead. Will there be rejections down the road? Possibly. I'm not going to say there is, because some people get lucky and poof. But there will be eventually, and we don't know what kind of rejections don't just happen because you say, hey, here's my piece of writing and I hope you love it, and they're like, oh yeah, great, blah blah blah, but you may have just bumped somebody else, right? And somebody else who was like, wait, whoa, wait a second, I thought I was going to be the next one. And then then you get a little bit of attitude, right? And that can feel like rejection, because all you want to do is make friends in your field. And I'm sure that doesn't really happen. I don't know. I don't know. And why do I not know? Because I've never followed my passion. I write, but I don't follow my passion. I blog. So what's the difference in blogging and posting as opposed to writing something longer and posting it? You know, trust me, like I said, this is a hard one for me because I'm not really feeling like I'm the person that should be talking to you about following your passions, because I am terrible at it. I am absolutely terrible at it. And maybe that also makes me the perfect person, because, I can understand. And this is all about self love, right? This is about me also tapping into those bits of self love that I still need to work on. And a lot of that comes with trusting ourselves and believing in ourselves. Every person that goes out there may not trust the moment, but they believe in themselves enough to push themselves through that door. Whether it's submitting a manuscript, whether it's submitting a piece of music, whether it's walking into an audition, and some people may trust it. Some people may trust the process, but not believe in it. It can go all different ways. But to be able to walk into that room with other people, knowing you're all vying for something, a very small amount of bits and pieces, or submitting your music to an industry that has tons of music, or submitting your manuscript to a world that has, endless supplies of stories. I'm not sure there's really an original idea left, but there are original ways to tell the story. And that's been one of my problems. I've sat on some of my stories so long that I've seen other people write very similar things, and I think, shit, what if I had the courage? What if I had believed in myself more? So right now, I'm going to take a moment, and if you haven't been through any kind of trauma in your life, and I mean childhood trauma, um, I don't leave yet, okay? But I want to direct this to the people who have been through some version of childhood trauma. And I'm not going to narrow it down to just, what I've been through or what other people have been through, just in general. If you, because and I'm going to say this because there's people in my life, including my parents, that never could understand why I wasn't more confident, why I didn't have more self-esteem, and my mom, why aren't you need to be stronger, you need to be this, you need to be that. And we all react differently to certain situations. Some people just block it, push it back to the back of their head, and deal with it later. I was not one of those people. I was born very sensitive. I'm very empathic, and I try to be empathetic because of what I've been through. Someone close to me and I were talking about this the other day on the phone. Well, baby sibling. I've talked about baby sibling in the past, and she's always given me permission to talk about her stuff. But we both talked about it, and she's like, we both agreed that we may not be the people we are today if we hadn't been through what we went through. And that doesn't mean that we wish it on other people, and that doesn't mean you can't be the kind of person that you are today without having trauma. You can be. It just, it might come a little more naturally. But for some of us who are the way we are, we're like that because we don't want to see the other people hurting. It hurts to see other people hurting. And I think a lot of it sometimes too is because we don't know how to fix our own pain. So we try to fix other people's pain and we can't. And we realize that over time. And in time we also realize that, we have the capabilities of moving ourselves in the direction of healing. And healing is a choice. Healing is a definite choice. So, whether you've been tuning in from the beginning, whether you come in partially through or halfway through, or if today is your first day and you've done all this, I'm here to tell you that trauma or not, self-love is going to be the greatest gift you ever, ever, ever give yourself. Because it's the compassion, it's the empathy, it's the kindness. It may be all these things that you've wanted from other people and have never received. Or it may be all these things that you have received from other people, but didn't appreciate yourself enough to see it, didn't love yourself enough to notice that people saw all this. See, the most confusing part about my childhood was what was happening to me over here was completely different from what was happening over here. My mom and I sometimes had a very complicated relationship while I was growing up, but I never not felt loved. And I think part of the reason I never told them, and part of the reason was because I was groomed very young. But the other reason I never told them, I think in my heart, was because I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't, and I'm sure that, because even my dad sometimes says now, I wish you would have said something. And it's like, yeah, I do too, but what can I do now? That's water under the bridge. But that's one of the reasons why I don't think, because, there's a level of guilt that I think ends up on their end. Even if they say, no, no, I don't, you told me not to. And it's like, I still think it sits there because it's like, how could I not protect my child? But what they didn't realize was that I had a wonderful childhood. But a lot of the things that I went through, they couldn't understand. Why are you so shy? Why are you so self-deprecating? Why are you, so low self-esteem, so low self-confidence? My mom caught me one time saying, I'm just so ugly. And she just looked at me, pointed her finger and said, I don't make ugly babies. And I love that. To this day, I love that. But at the time, I cried and I hugged her because I felt so worthless. And I carried that into adulthood. And so you're probably thinking, Shella Marie, what does all this have to do with your passion? It has everything to do with my passion. I wrote to get out of my own head. I wrote poetry. I wrote stories. I still write stories. I find it a little harder now that I'm not so angsty to write poetry, but it got in the way of my passion because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that confidence. I didn't love myself enough to think that something I put out there would be enjoyed by others. Even though, there's only one story I've ever shared that did not fly well. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't have flown well with other people, but I immediately took it as, okay, well, maybe that's not good. And it was just saying, the person that read it just said, it's just not my kind of story. But I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not my thing. But in my head, I was thinking, well, if this person who I respect their opinion so much doesn't like it, nobody's going to like it. Because that I was in my head. I was way in my head. And that's what we need to do. We need to get out of our heads. Get out of our heads and into our hearts and into that passion that we love so much. Whatever it is, whether it's, I always hit into the entertainment industry. And I think a lot of that is because of sibling, because siblings always trying to raise my confidence when it comes to my writing and stuff. Like I said about last week, I saw the story, you should write something on it, But, and I don't mean to roll my eyes. I'm just kind of like rolling my eyes at myself because I still haven't watched it. And I think part of that is fear. It's also 90 minutes, but I think part of that is fear. And I don't think it's fear of rejection anymore. I think it's fear. You know what? I don't even know what the fear is anymore. I mean, how about that, right? It used to be, constructive criticism. It used to be rejection. I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't think it is anything anymore. So what if you're sitting there and, say you want to be the world's best CPA? And yeah, I said CPA, be the world's best accountant. Hell, somebody's got to do it, right? Not everybody's passion lies in a field where people can see you. There are camera people, there are catering people, there are so many people that nobody sees behind the scenes, right? That make all of that work. Not just the director, not just the producer, not just the writer, all the other people. I had the opportunity once to be on a set for about 7 hours as an extra. And it was one of the best times of my life. I met new people. We talked over lunch. All of us found out where everybody was from. Turns out I was the closest. But I mean, they had all come to follow a dream. And it wasn't even about what it was we were doing. It was about the camaraderie, the friendships. And, none of the friendships lasted. It was just momentary, right? It was like having a one night stand with a group of people and no sex involved. Sorry, that's a terrible example. But I think what I'm trying to say is everybody there was following their passion. Me, I was just trying out something new. you know I was basically giving fear a little home and doing it anyway. And then life called and I got called back into an office job. And but you know what, I even though it was not my passion, I did do my best. And I did probably it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if I would have given 100% instead of about 90%, while I focused the other 10% on my passion of writing. But it doesn't matter. Being a president of a company, a CEO, the admin assistant, everybody has a purpose, everybody has a dream. And being the admin assistant, you're the anchor. Let me tell you, you are the anchor. The office manager, you're the freaking anchor. All right? Because, when my job ended, there was a lot of chaos because nobody realized how much I did because I didn't complain about it. I just did it because I was passionate about being good at what I was doing. But it wasn't my passion. So I think there's the other thing we should talk about, right? There's being passionate about things that we do because we want to do them well. And then there's having the passions that we have. Do you want to be a top swimmer? Do you want to swim the English Channel? That was once my dream before I hit 50. I wanted to swim the English Channel. And then I know this is going to sound like the dumbest thing in the world, but I literally have this, irrational fear of the bottom of boats, like big boats, like the big cargo ship boats. Like I can't, and it's not because I'm afraid of getting run over. The rust on the bottom or whatever, like that bottom part that you can see just above the water, it just freaks me out. More so than the sharks and the jellyfish that are probably in the water. And I can't remember what it's called, but I Googled it and that is an actual fear that other people have. So I do not feel alone. But yeah, it just, even just boats and marinas, it's kind of like, I cannot swim in a marina because it's like, and I don't even know where that comes from. I don't know. Maybe in a past life I got ran over by a boat. But I was passionate about it for a long time. I even had a big old poster on my wall, that what showed the channel between France and England. And it was like, and it never happened. But if that's your passion, do it. Right? If you want to run a 5K, a 10K, or a half marathon or a marathon, train yourself and do it. Don't worry about, finishing in the top 10 if you're not the greatest runner in the world. Just finish. Passions don't always have to be about, careers. Passions can be things like hobbies. I'm very passionate about coloring. It's something I found a couple years ago that I started doing when my anxiety kicks in. And now it's just kind of something I enjoy to do because I realize that when I'm coloring, I'm really thinking. I have a lot of things going through my head and processing. It's almost like a form of meditation now. And the funny thing is, I always color mandalas. Oh, I can't find it. I think I just pushed it back. Hold on. There it is. Just the book, right? But I mean, this is the one I did most recently, and I'm going to share it with you because you know this is the one I did most recently, and I love it. Kind of shimmers, right? I used all kinds of mediums on this, and yes, I use crayons also, not with me because they're at home, but I think the point I'm trying to make that I'm going in 9 different directions with is that when we're passionate about something, give it your best, give it your all. Don't be afraid. Like I said, I mean, I have all these passions and I can't even think of what my fear is now. I know that rejection happens. I know that constructive criticism happens because people just want your thing to be better. And that's where the discussion comes in. Maybe you can talk them out of it and say, hey, you know what, it has to be this way, or that doesn't work later on. But you can be in a conversation without being defensive. And so now I'm just thinking, if anybody watches this that knows me, they're going to be all over me because they're going to say, if you don't even know what your fear is anymore, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? So I know, right? What is the saying I said from the actor the other day? Um, Feel your fear, give it a little home, and do it anyway. Damn that saying. But it's not wrong. It's not wrong. And I think when you're passionate about something that you could potentially turn into a career for yourself and be your own boss, then do it. Now, don't do things irresponsibly. Okay, I need to add these disclaimers because some people say, "Oh, well, Shella Marie said quit my job and go do this." No, no, do it responsibly. Okay, do it responsibly. Use your lunch hour, your breaks, get up about an hour earlier before everybody else to do some writing. I'm saying writing because that's my passion, or do it, after you're done watching TV at night, or, sometimes I'll have my computer downstairs or a notebook. I always have a notebook nearby. I can't lie. When I go out, I will bring my journal with me just because I mean, I do love to write. Writing is my passion. It is my absolute 100% passion. And, and I guess I don't really have a reason to back my fear anymore. I know, which means I have to do it now. Maybe that was the push I needed, guys. Maybe this show was, for all of us. Well, it is for all of us. Like I said, I'm doing these along with you. I wake up in the morning, I do one affirmation. I found a list of 10 affirmations. I can't remember where I found it, but I read one every day 10 times, and I'm just and people might say, well, it's repetitive, that's blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I notice there's a change as I continue to repeat it. And sometimes I won't repeat it until I feel it. That's right. So be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Follow your passions. Even if it's not something you want to make a career out of, follow your passions. If you love to build things, do Habitat for Humanity, right? You can turn your passion into volunteer work, and that's anything. If you're an artist, you can go to senior homes and teach people how to paint, or go there and just have like a music hour. Just say, hey, you know what, I'd like to practice some of my songs. Can I play it for the residents? And it may lead to something, it may not, but you're sharing your passion with other people, and you're doing something, even if it's just on a fun level. Follow your passion. So, again, are you aware of the thing that both excites and terrifies you? Although you're convinced it won't work, the thing you want to accomplish, get moving on that. Get moving on that and do it. Self love is a dynamic concept. It can take a lifetime to get it down, but it requires continuous practice. It really does. Be nice to yourself and persevere through the challenging moments, especially if you're on the road to finding your passion. Embrace your passion, guys. Go out there and do it. Like I said, I know a lot of people are going to be like, wow, you went in way different direction. But that's why I said I wanted to talk to all the people who were healing from trauma, because a lot of times the trauma, it really steals your self-worth. It does, whatever kind of trauma you've been through. And even if it's not a childhood trauma, maybe you had a breakup recently and somebody was just horrible, horrible with their words, or maybe the way they treated you, or maybe, the outcome wasn't what you expected. it can hurt our self-esteem, it can hurt our self-worth, and more importantly, it can really damage and bruise our self-love, because sometimes we think, well, maybe I just wasn't enough, and sometimes when it really really hurts, you think, am I ever going to be enough for somebody? So that's where self-love comes in. That's where all these things come in. That's where we have to really kind of buckle down and just remind ourselves that, self-love is a gift, and it's not a gift from anybody else but from ourselves. So get out there, follow your passion, do your thing. And you know what? I promise you, I'm going to try to. Okay. And not just try. I'm going to, I don't want to say this. I'm going to do it because someone's going to call me out on it later, but I guess I just need to buckle down and just get it done, right? Start doing all that homework on how to do things like that. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you, because there are a lot of people who asked where my show went, and it came back, and I thought I need to finish the self-love series, so I thought I'd start it over with a whole different set of more shadow work type of things, digging deep type of things, and a little bit of surface things too. And without this thing today, I'm not sure that I would have realized that my fear is just fear now. It doesn't have anything to back it up. Like I said, I don't even know why I'm afraid of it anymore. And so, because it's not about rejection, because I can handle that now. It's not about constructive criticism, because I can handle that now. And, I mean, even if it hurts, guys, people, like I said, people are just trying to help. And, some people will be a little mean with their rejections and their constructive criticism, but that's where self-love really comes in. What other people, again, think of you is none of their business. Just find a way to build your self-love. Find a way to build your self-worth and your self-respect, because your passion needs to be seen, and it needs to be something that really truly fulfills you. And like I said, you never know. Your passion might end up being your purpose as well. All right. So have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. You can also find it all over the place under my name or the Aloha Perspective. I know all over the place is so vague, but I'm on everything pretty much. So if all the main stuff like Blue Sky, I think that's under Shelly Marie Lucas, Blue Sky, or Goalie Fan 1973. Twitter, Facebook. I do have a page, the Aloha Perspective, on Facebook, but I keep forgetting about it. Instagram, all those things. So TikTok. So yeah. So I am on Snapchat, but these are too long for that. So again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me anywhere. I'll see you back here tomorrow for Self Care Wednesday and day 18 of self love. Have a great day.